Okay, right, so is local man Mr. PSX here, and I'm going to start off with a meme. And it's a funny one because it's true. Retro sellers hate him. Get prices down with these simple tricks. But seriously, this is mostly for the PAL Sony users, but there's some advice for you Muricans and hentai Japanese peoples and those wanting stuff from those regions among some general tips. This is a collector and an inspector giving this advice, but since I'm also at this buying and selling business, I'm going against myself a bit, which makes this all the more legitimate since I can admit that. Also, I'm having more of a Sony PS1 and PS2 view, but this can be practiced with all the other systems, especially general tips. Also aiding you are plenty of useful visuals, so you know even more what to look for. Let's go. Share this stuff with others, otherwise I'm going to use my cell phone to call you at 5 AM to inform you that it's 5 AM. Having it the more complete the better, but it in general means pricier, but some limit to that, goddammit. Getting past the original retail price is a bit too much, and there were plenty of these made, so it alone should drive the price down. This stuff is most of the time not rare at all. No, despite what some people claim. And don't start giving me examples. I said most of the time. Do you know what that means? Perhaps some demo stuff is more so rare than games. Again, if there's any packaging the better. But some limit, goddammit. Also promo items by their nature are more rare, since there's less printed. To summarize what is coming up. Know what to look for and then use it against people. If they refuse, just tell them tough shite then and leave. What's great in my area is that we have places that aren't after profit. This is a bit questionable since their profits are tax-free. And while electronics are a bit pricier but still cheaper than usual, games and stuff are cheap no matter what they are. Go to those kind of places. I've gotten some finds from those. Some to collection, some to bodies, some to get forward after doing things. I got these from there. This was the pricing. And since I was an employee at the time, I also got 30% off since that was their thing at the time. Nowadays that is screwed up. It happened before I left. And that graded shit is shit. Tell people you also heard it from me. Also price charting is shit from what little I've interacted with it. You know what would also help? New printings of these games from the companies, even though they would be inferior in their durability since modern stuff is just bad. You all know why. To make money, which companies do. They want your monies. It should not be a surprise to anyone anymore. There's a reason I'm saying that in the caption. With Sony, this area did something right. Those black bars aren't so bad. Even Morica and Hentai Japan have those at the sides of the image. Stop the PAL hate. So, barcodes and other codes. Every release, even with the same serial, has a different barcode if there's a different languaged packaging. And also black labels and platinums have a different barcode on top of that. Outside different case types, they have the same one if the language contents are the same. This video details Crash Bandicoot in a high detail. What you do is this. Look at the back of the case and then the back of the manual and the game cover. The numbers should match. If the game also has an insert, it should have at least a partial amount of the barcode, if not fully, and sometimes also the game's serial it is for. Sometimes the cover has more than one code, and I've seen one instance where a cover for another region was used in Scandinavian region. This was verified by looking at listings they all did. So the serial should match as well, also seen in the case spine and the disk itself. The manual should most of the time have the same languages as the back of the case, though sometimes this is not the case. Sometimes the case says what language the manual is supposed to be along the game. If the barcode matches, however, it's fine. Though sometimes int-eng games use the UK-eng manual with a different barcode. Int-eng means the packaging is in English but uses a PEGI age rating logo instead of the PBFC age rating UK-eng uses. GTA games fall under this, their English editions especially are a mess, but in general if these codes do not match, ask a lower price if it's high, since it likely is a mismatch. There's also one exception I've seen: the back cover of the normal box Ridge Racer doesn't have a code at the back of the manual, but in that case languages match between the game back cover and the manual. The big box variant has the code in the back of the manual. Hologram cases. Those PS1 games that came to the market, and for a small while game cases didn't use the hologram as it would cover part of the art. That thing is for the games that have the black or gray bar which says PlayStation, and on top of the empty black or gray space is the hologram. This is what happens if you have a game that is not meant to have a hologram, has one applied. If you see a game like this, price drop or else. And another thing, the earlier games which had the hologram has a diagonal background. At around 1999 it went to straight, so originals and re-releases made after that should have that. If what you're after doesn't match this, price drop. PS2 also has two different designs, although I don't know when exactly did this change. PS2 and manuals. These are more often than not recycled from black labels, as they are. Sometimes they have a printing specific to the platinum. I've seen both. With PS1 you can tell what it is. Platinums are platinums, black labels are black labels, and early games are without the black stripe completely, even in the manual. Demo bundles. Some games had demos bundled in. Many times these are wrong, if they even are there. This is a great resource for seeing what the package and the demo bundled look like. I've even contributed to it, though sadly it doesn't cover the PS2 side so much, PS1 side quite much. Check that thing out for any possible demos. If it's missing, ask for a lower price. If the demo is sold on its own, it should be a lower price due to not being with a game it's supposed to be with. Case. If the game is around 2008 or later, don't expect it to have a memory card holder. If the game is from earlier, it should have it unless it's a reprint done after the change. Look for copyright years at the legal data. Revisions. As I've mentioned many times in other video pieces, revisions, when they exist as a black label disc as well. Not just platinum discs. There's not any different barcodes and such, as only the disc data is different in these cases, as it has an indicator. Only platinums have different things, and that's due to packaging, as mentioned just earlier. There can be disc data changes, but not always. This varies game by game. Check redump for this stuff, even though it's not perfect and has some things missing and a few errors even. Not telling you what they are, so you all are all the more vigilant as a result. This region, while overrated, sucks for this kind of thing. Let me explain before you jump at me. If there's a black label and a greatest hits, spell that with an added S if you care, they both have the same exact barcode. If there's a manual, that same code is also over there. With PS1 you at least have the cover, since it's also the game cover, but With PS2 the manual doesn't indicate itself what release it's for, unless it does. I don't live in the region and haven't encountered any. You need to rely on other indicators with those to see if it's correct, like other codes of the company having things to do with it, like EA has these. If you've seen the video which says GH manuals are black and white while BL manuals are Technicolor, no. The only USA PS2 game I have is this, and it has a black and white manual. Likely original due to the EA codes being so close to each other. Its GH has the same barcode, which is also seen in the manual. You better ask details if you're unsure if it's legit. This region is different again. So, I only have originals myself, though I know almost all of these have a re-release, with a different serial seen in the packaging, as the serial is also seen in the manual and on the back, though without any barcodes. This likely tells you if it's what it should be. Re-releases have a different barcode, thankfully. Likely it is like this, as sometimes Japan has it like US, where the manual cover is the game cover, and sometimes it's like PAL, depends on the case type. In fact, this is a PAL region thing as well. Australia had a CD case release of Crash Team Racing for some reason. Go figure. Anyway, what I told about the Japanese region, it applies to PS1 and PS2. It's good to ask details if unsure if it's legit. Japan is an odd place. What the hell is a linear bathtub coaster anyway? These are not the same games as the originals, despite people speaking like they are. They are not. Stop it. Remakester is not the original game, no matter how they may make you think. Think about it for a moment. They do the whole thing again, and may even change things. How is that the original? That's right, it's not. Tell it to people who think otherwise. Everyone who says Remakester makes people get this game are all wrong. The Remakester gets them to get the Remakester, not the original. Their wording sucks, they should change that. If anything, these should keep the prices the same, if not get them higher. Re-releases should happen instead, with no changes whatsoever. If a modern player doesn't like it, then that's on the modern player. A product of its time, as with everything, yes. You can't say you got this and played it if you got this and played it. They're not the same. These suck and can all just go to hell and burn. There's not a single reason to have any of these. You want an item, you pay for the item, you get the item. Why the hell a country having nothing to do with your business and purchase wants a cut for it if it gets from another country, which is even added on top of the price? Only if the exact same thing is literally sold in your area like that as well is understandable, as you don't buy domestic. If this is not the case, however, you should get away free with importing whatever the crap you're getting is. Don't tell peoples, but I've literally sometimes cheated local customs to get some import fees off, which again shouldn't even exist for this stuff. A fellow Scandinavian, in this case a Norwegian, agrees. Anyway, some price drops mean also lower fees, depending on your location. If you're sending privately, always send as a gift and lie about the price. What comes to eBay fees, those are too goddamn high. You all know it, and anyone defending those is a fool. Also, other fees such as environment fees and health fees should never exist. We have already caps made so that they don't get separated from bottles, and I rip them off because of it, and don't return it with the bottle if I make the mistake of getting one. Also, when there's bottle returning machines, I sometimes get the receipt from each bottle separately. You know the reason. Tell those bastards to stop having their meetings all around the world where they go with their private planes and have the press in there as well, and instead have them use a phone with those things. You get the idea. This is a sort of blackmail. The thing is, fees suck and shouldn't exist. I'm all for freedom of choice. If people want to be I mean fuck, I mean idiots, let them. So now you know the tactics I've used sometimes and do use to get the price up if there's a need. I mostly sell cheap if not complete, and how to drive prices down, especially all the Nintendo crap. Why the hell is it so goddamn expensive? There's fucking millions of cartridges. There's no reason one of those should go for $60 or more. Some dollars only for those, damn it. Same with disc-only games, no matter how rare, unless a promo item. Higher prices are more acceptable the more complete it is, but some limit. I hope this helped you in your and our quest of getting some prices down. Is local man Mr. PSX out of here? Goodbye sirs, and all that jazzy stuff for now.